How's it going, traders? My name is Ricky. Thank you guys for joining us for the live stream. If you guys are joining us for the first time, I go live every day, Monday through Friday. We pretty much analyze the stock during pre-market hours, kind of plan out our trades, try to identify potential on certain stocks, and then I trade for about 15 to 30 minutes while the market's open, with my live stream. So thank you again for joining us. I go through the basics and fundamentals of investing. If you are investing for the first time, we have 3 rules within Technical Solutions, and that is we don't trade based on anyone else's opinion. We only invest in what we understand. And then the last one is always plan out your trade, meaning that you need to know where you're buying, where you're selling, and where you're going to be cutting your losses in effort to be able to manage your risk. And if you don't necessarily know what that means, maybe you might want to take a step back and watch a little bit of my helpful videos as we go over a couple frequently asked questions. I want to make sure that I make this clear just because we have a couple people that are tuning in live that I'm sure are well aware of this. There's a person, again, trying to impersonate me like with an email. I never give out my email and I never ask for any personal information. My Technical Solutions group is simply a Facebook group. It is 100% for free. The link is provided for you down below. If you get requested to email me at whatever email, I never give out my email, no, even for Technical Solutions, especially within this YouTube platform. Just know that I never give out my email nor any personal information. So if you see anyone that is showing to be Ricky Gutierrez, actually click on the channel, because it's not actually me, because I never give out my email or request any personal information. So I just want to make sure that this is clear, especially because a couple of new traders are probably going to be watching this, and I just want to make sure that you guys don't get taken advantage of. But that's really just it. We're a little bit over 30,000 members worldwide, and the thing that we do best is we provide a supportive community for both new and experienced traders. We have a good amount of people tuning in right now. I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm not too sure if you guys have been tuning into the Technical Solutions group chat, but I called out my trade on DGAS that I closed the day with yesterday. I'm not even sure if I actually called it out on my live stream. I'm pretty sure that I did. I entered my position on DGAS at a flat rate of $24 per share. Let me just share my screen because I know you guys don't want to hear me talk. And then let's go from there. It's been a crazy morning. With all the different picks that are going up. They're the ones we always focus on. It's the same old. Again, I'm using TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform for those that haven't joined us before. It is a 100% free platform for you guys that aren't aware of it. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a step back and go to a 2-day candlestick. AMD broke 14 today, or 1410, which is somewhat of a resistance as of yesterday. So again, it broke a resistance, which will now become a new support most likely. So we're going to wait for the morning pullback to see where it actually bounces, and see if we can just like yesterday catch it at the bounce and then ride it up, since it builds a pretty decent margin. That was about 3%. RNVA, again, this isn't a stock that I traded. It's less than $1. I know I traded CERU yesterday, but that was for a special circumstance. I feel like I have a good amount of picks to choose from today, and this isn't going to be one. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about this one for those that want to focus on more low cap stocks. If that's your specialty, then Cara or RNVA is seeing like an enormous amount of volume and price increase. It closed yesterday at about 36 cents per share, and it's up 48 cents. So I mean, the percentage increase is huge. We're up about 25% on this specific stock. So if you see potential, it looks like it's experiencing somewhat of a pullback already. But again, I don't know anything about this one. Just thought I'd call it out, since a couple of traders do trade a little bit, or do trade stocks that are a little bit under $1. Now, taking a step back, CARA has been one that we've followed for such a long time after the huge dip that it took when it dropped below $26. And then it was just something that was like thrown all around our group chats. Now it's actually bouncing. It identified its support at $12. We're actually seeing upward momentum. It broke above 14, which is what we wanted. Once it starts breaking these resistance levels, that's when we're really going to see CARA do work, right? And it's as simple as that. Focusing on the next resistance. Next resistance is going to be around 1450, and usually when they break these certain resistance, as you can see, they have huge volume spikes, and that's ideally it. So when it broke above 13, that's what led to this huge spike. And it's just amazing. It looks like it's experiencing a pullback. Well, it broke above 14, so 14 will most likely try to be a support, but it looks like it's also had a support at around 13.50. As you guys can see, old supports right here. But again, this is a good one to follow up with. It's a $12 stock, not necessarily a penny stock, and it's a little bit easier to manage your risk with these higher price stocks, at least in my own experience. But again, only trade what you understand and don't invest in what you don't. JNUG, our great old JNUG. So what the heck? Why don't I have level 2? Oh, it's because of a video that I was filming. All right, JNUG is above 17. So finally bounced. I'm not too sure if you guys remember when it did the double bottom at 1482 for 2 days in a row, and then it started to bounce. That's when we identified, okay, this is showing signs of upward momentum. We saw that based on, how JNUG usually plays out. It was at an overall, really low point for, how JNUG usually, plays out as in within the past 180 days. It finally bounced at an extremely low point because it usually doesn't even get to be this low. But it's on an upward trend. It usually has a resistance overall at $20, but again, it usually doesn't go down this low. So again, make sure that you guys lock in profits and follow with the trailing stop loss if you guys don't do that already. But as you guys can see, there's a slight resistance at like 1730, and it's experiencing a pullback. That's actually what I'm waiting for. I'm going to be waiting for the pullback for all these people to start locking in profits. I want the demand to fall, and then for me to catch it at the bounce once it starts rising again. And that's most likely going to be the one that I'm going to be focused on today. Since JNUG is up, we can only imagine that JDST is down, just like expected. If you guys don't know the comparison from JDST and JNUG, they're inverse ETFs. So when one goes up, the other one goes down, meaning that overall within the 180-day, JNUG or JDST was actually pretty high before it started seeing this downward trend. So again, it's really good to know and follow up with. These are kind of like my go-tos. So these are the ones that, when I don't have anything necessarily to really focus on, I know that at least I have, 2 of my go-to stocks that make sense to me, and that's always good to have. So for you guys, identify and try to, focus on specific stocks that make sense to you. And it's never good to force a trade. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that. But it really comes down to like, if you understand one pretty well, then it makes it a little bit easier. This is the one that I wanted to talk about in the live stream. I'm not too sure if you guys saw my call out on this one yesterday. I called it out when it bounced at 23.80, and I called this one out when it what's it called? I apologize. I called this one out when I locked my profits for CERU. The reason that I found this one so attractive is if you go to a 20-day analysis, I called it out last time that it bounced at 23. The reason that it bounces at 23, that's actually a resistance. If we go to a 180-day analysis, it usually bounces at 17, and it has a margin from about 17 to about 23. So it has this little margin right here. Once it breaks that resistance, again, 23 now becomes a new support. Just like we know, old resistance levels become new support levels. Again, it's a very common trend. But it's also bounced multiple times at 24. Again, DGAS is one that I'm very familiar with. It's one that I've traded multiple times, and that's why I called this one out yesterday. A lot of people thought that it came out of nowhere. It really came down to understanding these previous trends. I've called this one out multiple times, just like I called out LPCN. I called out LPCN with the support at about $4, and then yesterday it hit highs of about like 430. So I don't actually know where it's trading at right now. But where is it? Yeah, yesterday it was above $4. Usually that's a good buy, not always 100%. But if we go back and do like a 5-day analysis, usually it bounces pretty well at $4. Do you guys see that? There's a pretty strong support at $4. Yes, it does go below, and that's why it's always very important to have a plan. But the potential usually when it's at $4 usually goes to around 420, which is about 5% profit, which is huge. I mean, I don't know, how much profit you guys are looking to, lock in every single day, but to always have a go-to, to always understand a stock when it's around a specific price range that it has potential, that's usually what I try to look for. So I'm going to set my alert again. I didn't trade LPCN just because I got into DGAS, and I don't usually, swing trade or hold stocks overnight. And I know, obviously, DGAS is not a penny stock. It's way over $20. But regardless, I don't necessarily like holding stocks overnight just because it's more difficult to manage a risk. But what I saw here was Okay, so now it broke the resistance at 25. I sold my position during pre-market hours, so I got filled. I'm up $131, and it's a great start to the morning, right? But I still want to make sure that I see potential. I saw that it was struggling to go above 25, and I know that now it has a margin from 25 to 27 and a half or 26 and a half. And what I mean by that is 20, it's actually like 20, almost 27. It has a support, but it has gone to lows of like 26.75. It's an old support, which means that it's most likely going to become a new resistance level, meaning that it's going to struggle to go above. So once we see the break, if I see a good enough break and we can break above 250, I can make the decision to go from 250 to 275, and that trade would be worth it. I would much rather miss out on this margin right here of about 2% profit and lock in what I held overnight from 24 from 24 to 25. And if you guys want to get a little bit more comfortable or actually want to see what it is that I'm calling out, be sure that, again, it's free. If you guys don't want to, I 100% don't want you guys to feel that you guys have to, but it's my technical solutions community. You guys can feel free to join within the group chats. That's usually where I call out certain stocks that I'm going to be looking at, trading, swing trading. So I called this one out. I asked for people's opinion, what it is that they thought. And a lot of people asked me, why is it that you're looking at DGAS? And I gave my exact, explanation. If you look at this, 15-day analysis, it's at support and it's bouncing. It bounced at 23.80. I waited for it to go above 24. Again, I waited for it to break the resistance, bought in at 24, sold at 25, stuck to my plan, and now I'm going to wait till it breaks above 25.5. And if it does, then I'll try to sell at 25.6. And if not, I'll cut my losses if it goes below 25.5. Again, I'm a very conservative trader. I keep a very tight loss or stop loss, and that's just my style. It's something that assists me in being able to lock in. It was 3% profit that I locked in with my position on what's it called? DGAS. Therefore, it's not huge. It's maybe not the profit that you guys are looking for, but it's the consistent profit that has assisted me in being able to grow my account and really do what it is that I do. I trade about 1 to 2 to 3 times a day, depending on how busy I am. And it's something that really helps me out. So I'll stop going on that rant and let's go ahead and start answering maybe a couple of your guys' questions. That's it. My goodness. I did see that Amazon actually broke above $1,000, right? Yeah, broke above 1,000, so that's pretty solid. From the previous close, it's up 1%, so I mean, you must have had a lot invested. But we have about 5 minutes before the market opens. It looks like our NVA, yeah, it's experiencing somewhat of a pullback. It's trying to hold above 44. Buyers at 45, sellers at 45. That's pretty close. AMD, I'm going to set my alerts. I really want to see the pullback. So the ones that I'm going to be following up with are AMD and JNUG. I want JNUG to actually pull back, and because the old resistance was right around 1650. As you guys can see that it struggled to go above 1650. That's where I wanted to bounce. Besides pre-market hours, I guess it did have a resistance here. Might actually be at this specific one I did. So I want to try to see where it is that the pullback might happen and where the bounce would happen. So we're going to wait on that. And then Kara actually has a pretty nice setup as well. But just, great increases. I was looking at our group chat, and so many people saying that like they're up on what is it, ZN, and they're sharing like everything it is that they made this morning. So huge. Which was oh. All right, let's take a look at ZN again. Okay, so ZN bounced at 361. New resistance, as you guys can imagine, at 450. You guys might be asking why. I traded this one and didn't do very well. So I'm a little salty. Just kidding. But like you guys know, an old support was around 450, which will become a new resistance level. So once it breaks 450, and next resistance is $5. So there's this 50-cent margin, which is more than 10% for this 40-cent stock. So 10.41%. So if we can get the break, as you guys can see, all the sellers, all the buyers here at 449, all the buyers. So it looks like it just actually broke. I'm just waiting for, once the market does open, we're either gonna have. I just feel like a lot of people are gonna start locking in profits because they wrote it all the way down yesterday. So maybe, but yeah, the demands have really started to increase here, and that's what led to that. Okay. Yeah, it's struggling, but it definitely does look like it is possible for it to break above this today. So I'm gonna set my alert. We have a lot of good setups, and that's a really like difficult thing sometimes is like how is it that you choose, what to focus on. I mean, we have ZN that has a 10% margin, but then again it's hitting the resistance. So once it breaks above 450, that's if I get in at 460, my stop loss would be at 450, keeping my you know loss at about 1.61%, with my potential for profit to be much greater if I could sell at $5. So that's like a way that I can risk that. Now, if you're looking into trading a little bit of a more lower cap stock, this one's up 25%. AMD finally breaking above 14, making some new moves. I want you guys to understand that based on this 20-day analysis, the overall resistance is at 1467. So from top to bottom, based on where it currently stands, the potential for profit might not be as great as you guys might imagine. So just understand that. Kind of going into JNUG, this one has a lot more potential for profit than any other one, but just know that a really strong resistance was at $17. Therefore, we might experience a pullback and not even sure if we're actually going to continue to break through 17 just because it was such a solid support. And the more times a stock bounces at a certain support, the stronger it becomes and the more difficult it becomes to actually break above. But also when it does break above and the volume is correct, that can lead to huge, spikes as you guys can see right here. But as long as it continues to hold above 17, then that would be a good indicator for JNUG, or for it to hold um, above the old resistance as of yesterday, creating a new support. So that's ideally what you want to see for it to continue to show signs of upward momentum, but not exactly sure if that's what we're going to be getting. DGAS, yeah, I guess I sold too early. But again, I stuck to my plan. It made sense to me. And that's just it. Did I know 100% that it was going to do what it is that it did? No. I'm simply going to set my alerts, and if it goes above 25, then I will make the decision to potentially jump in. But it really comes down to um, having a plan. So my focuses for today are going to be ZN. ZN is now seeing a pullback. All right. Okay. AMD, let's see if we can see this pullback just like we expected. Pullback happening now. Most likely going to be looking for a bounce at around 14. No, it's holding. It's actually holding pretty well. DGAS holding very well as well. That was very delayed. Not much of a pullback. Not what you would expect once the market opens. And I mean, it's pretty decent volume. Cara, thank you. Pullback. Can it hold above 14? All right. ZN, JN. All right. I think I need to give JNUG a little bit more time for it to see a pullback. I think with ZN being able to catch it at the actual bounce, and because it's being a lower cap stock, that I can actually make a little bit more, a little bit quicker if I catch it correctly. And then I can make the decision that if JNUG is at a low enough price, I can actually jump into that for potentially a swing trade. So let's see. Drop to lows of 420. And again, for me, it's not catching it at the lowest price. I mean, now if we get back to where it is, it should really be holding above 420 because that's ideally like where it bounced. Where is it? Okay. All right. It's just not doing very well. Continuing to drop. And again, I don't want to invest in something that's seen a downward trend. Let's see. I want to hear what you guys have to say. AMD making moves. For those that are asking me about DCTH, I don't trade DCTH and I don't necessarily like all the hype behind it. So that's why I tried to avoid talking about it as much as possible. So I hope you guys understand. Yeah, JNUG looks like it's bouncing. Did not really see a pullback. Hit lows of like 1709 and is now at highs for the day at resistance 1730 and watch it break. Carl with a huge drop. As long as it holds at 1350 again, the reason 1350, that's where it bounced at. Once it experienced the break, AMD's dropping a little bit. So again, after it broke above the resistance of 1350, it saw resistance at about 14, saw a pullback, bounce at 1350. All right, JNUG is making moves, moving, broke the resistance, and we're on our way to 18. Doesn't look like it's actually pushing through though. There we go. All right. AMD's not moving much. Ooh, it dropped right. No, it does this so much. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't necessarily like that. Okay. So we're getting back. It looks like it did hold pretty well above 420, so that's good. We're at 440. I'm waiting for the break above 450 for it to break the resistance. Let's see. Trying to get in. Support. ZN when okay, ZN JNUG is actually moving. Saw a little bit of a pump, not necessarily moving up again, still seeing somewhat of a downward trend. It's trying to hold up, but it's not doing a very good job. Want to see if I can get filled at 420, 425 and a stop loss at 420. 1% really, 1.1% risk. Um, I'd much rather catch it at the bounce rather than trying to get in that low point. So I'm just gonna hold back. Looks like I'm gonna try to get filled with a couple at 430. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to hold at 430. I'm gonna go for 300 shares at 430. All right. And again, I'm using the Fidelity app on my phone to actually execute on the trades. I am using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, so a completely separate platform. And I've talked about it multiple times on why I use Fidelity. All right, well, I got filled. So 300 shares, I'm gonna set my stop loss. All right. And again, I'm not going in very deep or um, too deep with the actual like buying power. It looks like 425 was actually where it bounced at. So, as long as we hold anything above 420, that's all I'm looking for. But because 430 was okay, we broke above. That's what we want to see. Um, 435. I'm gonna add 300 shares more. Crap. Okay, filled at 438. Oh goodness. Again, stop loss set. All right. Once it breaks above um, 445, I think I'm going to set my limit order to sell at 450. Again, 450 being the resistance. And then if it breaks above 455 or 460, then I'll try to jump back in. Or bounce, and yeah, it bounced pretty much where we called it out, 1350. For those that are asking, why did I know that it was going to bounce at 1350? Again, it was just an old support where it bounced at after it hit the first resistance, so it would just make sense, and it's most likely going to experience somewhat of a resistance there at 14. All right. Uh, so freaking crap. Ah, it broke above 450. It's all good. I stuck to my plan. If it breaks above 4, if it breaks above 460, I'll get back in again. Man, for those that got in at 425 and 420, congrats to you guys. Man, this thing's still climbing. Okay, it just broke above it. Trying to gap up to $5 and try to get in again. There we go. Filled again, and I did not get filled at a really good price. Crap. No, we're good. All right. As long as we continue holding up. Nope. Pull back. 450. We need to hold above that. Ooh. All right. My stop loss is at 450. I'm in, let's see. I'm in pretty high. I'm in at 458, so definitely not the best price. But again, as long as we hold above 450, we should be good. Potential for risk. It's holding. There we go. Need to break above 460. Come on. There we go. There we go. Let's. Oh my goodness. All right, I've been actually going live for quite a while, not to actually share. I hope I'm not boring you guys. JNuggets looks like it's coming back to the support at 1420, because that's where it bounced at. So let's see. Rad still dropping like a stone. AMD, huge pullback. So it actually broke all of the supports. Kara, again, another pullback, didn't really hit the resistance. So it looks like I chose the right one today. We're doing fine. I'm up $84 on my first position. Didn't go in very heavy. So I got in at an average of 434, sold at 450. Now when it broke above 460, I was gonna get in at 460. I got in at 458, so I'm barely up anything right now. I'm planning to sell at the $5 resistance. For those that are asking why I'm planning to sell at the $5 resistance, well, this is pretty much what I see. And again, if you guys don't see it, please don't trade it. Again, the old support was at 450, becoming a new resistance level. We broke above that resistance. I waited for the break above 460, showing true sense of upward momentum and actually holding above. Due to that, getting at 458, my potential for profit now is up to $5. The reason it's $5, it's the resistance or old resistance used to be at $5, which used to be, again, an old support. So it makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to you, 100% I understand. And that's pretty much it. Please feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions. I keep going, not boring at all. I don't know. my roommates say my voice is very monotone, and they can't imagine why people would even listen to me. So, I'm just kind of just talking because that's always what they say. But I really do appreciate your guys' support. I'm just gonna, just because my I just stop lost out. All right. Well, we did good. I'm down 40 on that trade. Again, nothing huge, stuck to my plan. I'm still up $44 on ZN. Yeah, this thing is dropping. So the reason I put my stop loss at 450, again, 450 was an old resistance, becoming a new support, broke below it. Yes, it might actually still continue showing signs of upward momentum. I just have a very tight stop loss. So if it ends up breaking above 460 and I really see the momentum start picking up, then, you know, that could change it up and I can choose to go back in again. Just wanted to stick to my plan, and again, keeping losses small and profits, you know, bigger. So again, my profits are still twice the size of this. And that's really just it. So overall, I'm extremely excited with where I am right now, or I'm happy and content. It's about, what is it, 16 minutes since the market opened. I'm still up $175 on the day with my 2 trades from my hold overnight with DGAS and my locking in profits for ZN. I am, you know, could have been up a little bit over 200, but again, doesn't mean we still have a good amount of hours. I've only been trading for 16 minutes. So I'm gonna call it a day here. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys found this video somewhat helpful. And if you guys did, you know, we'd appreciate the support. If you guys can give it a thumbs up, you know, that would be great. But most importantly, if you guys can share in the comment section once this video does publish, or in the Facebook platform, what you guys learned today, what you guys did good, and maybe some areas of improvement. The reason that we ask for that feedback and for you to share that is because, you know, the thousands and 30,000 members that we have within our community can definitely learn from your best practices, as well as, you know, you can learn, you know, there's always something new to learn. And the more that we share, the better that we can do as an overall group. So I hope you guys see value that. Again, it takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute. If you guys want to post on the Facebook platform, and I'd be more than happy to approve that post for you guys. If you guys aren't a part of Technical Solutions already, the link is provided for you down below. Again, you simply have to have a Facebook account and then you'll get accepted. But you know, we have an exciting day. I have a couple of things planned for today. If you guys want to suggest any specific video for me to upload for today's helpful video, please direct message me within the Technical Solutions group chat, and I'd be more than happy to make today's video based on your specific requests. So thank you guys again so much. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.